Restrooms are right here. We have Wi-Fi, but it's not working right now. We can't get logged in, but he's going to reset the router and see if it works. When it does come back up, it's Bible Church, so just all lowercase Bible Church. We can try and get on that. We might try and let Tech Department log on first, but he'll probably be in that. And God, desiring to be taught of you. God, we thank you for your Spirit that you've given each one of us, and that you guide us, you teach us, you train us through your word, Lord. And we're asking today that you would just make your voice come alive through your word, through testimonies, through the discussions, that you would have preeminence here, and that you would be exalted. We are grateful for this time, this week, as we're looking forward to celebration of Resurrection Day. And we just thank you for the time we have here together in your presence. So direct us. We give this time to you. We have notes, we have things on the schedule, but ultimately we want you to rule and reign in our time and in our hearts. To the glory of Christ Jesus, we ask all this. Amen. Amen. So I just wanted to mention briefly, I went to a conference about, it was 2016, and I was just told you need to get to this conference in Florida. And it was this training here. It wasn't called a conference, but I didn't know what it was, and I wasn't told anything about it. But my big takeaway after sitting in for a few days, and it was much of it was over my head because I wasn't actively involved. So that may be the case for some of us. That's okay. What it does is gives us a foundation. But I was so excited because all my life, I mean, I've been doing ministry for about a quarter century, and you could go to an evangelism conference and learn how to share the gospel. Or you could go to a discipleship thing and it would give you some discipleship method. Or you could go to a church planting conference. And I've done all three of those, and you go to different conferences for all of that. And what I found out at the end of this training was that it was all of that bundled together in a process that we'll be talking about, where it just flows seamlessly from starting a conversation with someone to sharing the gospel to what do I do after if they follow Christ, and then how do they become a mature believer, and how do I do all of that? And I had never had a cohesive system to do that until a few years ago through this time. So whether that's your aha moment or what you've gleaned from this, I don't know. But there will be something that the Lord will connect for each one of us that will help us wherever we are involved in the harvest together. So I want to mention how this is a little bit different than maybe other trainings that you've gone to, other conferences and things. And we just call this teaching versus training. And just pretend that this stuff's not up here. Well, as I talk here, you're going to get the idea of kind of how. So teaching versus teaching would be what we've done in college, where a professor stands up and gives information. We take good notes. We try and digest as much of the information as we can. Digest as much of the information as we can, but there's no interaction. And how do most people learn? One of the best ways of learning is the interaction. It's the practicing what we've done. And so that's what we're going to be doing here is rather than just teaching some principle or teaching some Bible verse, we're going to be investigating it together. We're going to be practicing it together. So a big difference that we'll be doing is the practice. And we're going to try and get in some repetition, because we know that repetition is one of the best things that we can do for that. And so with this, because we are going to be practicing, you're going to want a training buddy. And so we'll have, if you can kind of be thinking about who you're going to be training with, so that's who you're going to be practicing with. So we'll do that in two. And it looks like we've got it pretty well that's going to work. And so we're going to have a training buddy. So it's very, very audience participative and action, connecting, learning like that. So as we're doing this, I was not taught that I want to share with you. Anything that's shared up here, envision you doing this next year or next month.
And it's about 5 or so minutes long. After this video, I'm going to just share a couple more things, and then we're going to get started with the training. But this is really kind of vision casting. Like, why are we here? What are we doing? And what has Jesus called us to do? So, Kyle.
There's this beautiful, it's in the book of Isaiah.
The city of Jerusalem has just been destroyed by Babylon, a great kingdom in the north. And all of these Jewish people, they've been sent away into exile, but a few remain in the city. And they're left wondering, what just happened? Has our God abandoned us?
Right, because Jerusalem was supposed to be the city where God would reign over the world to bring peace and blessing to everyone.
Now Isaiah had been saying that Jerusalem's destruction was a mess of Israel's own making. They had turned away from their God, become corrupt, and so their city and their temple were destroyed.
Everything seems lost.
But the poem goes on. There's a watchman on the city walls. And far out on the hills we see a messenger, and he's running towards the city. He's running, he's shouting, good news! And Isaiah says, how beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those good news.
Beautiful feet.
Yes, the feet are beautiful because they're carrying a message
What's the message?
that despite Jerusalem's destruction, Israel's God